All right, let's turn now to flock cameras. They're supposed to catch criminals, but now they are themselves becoming targets. Across the country, people are destroying the cameras. The debate over surveillance and privacy is heating up, and these cameras are everywhere, 120,000 of them nationwide. 7,000 law enforcement agencies are under contract in 49 states. Flock say it hears the privacy concerns, and just last week made changes. Standard data storage was cut from 30 to 7 days. Records tied to an investigation can be kept longer, and every search now must include a reason or a case number that presumably would carry along the standard of reasonable suspicion. The question for critics, though, is not how long your data is stored. It's whether the government should be accessing surveillance like this, have in place a network like this in the first place. Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett introduced a bill last month that would ban federal use of mass surveillance technology and block federal funding for state and local surveillance systems. So, where's the line? Joining me now, Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett. Congressman, good to have you on the program. Thank you. I think what I'd love to do is just present to you some of the arguments that I've heard about why these things can be used responsibly. And the first argument is, look, you already are surveilled. Everyone has one of these in their pocket. It's not hard to find you. So it's not as though the private citizen is walking around anonymous. So these flock cameras are just helping us catch bad guys.
Well, they are helping us catch bad guys, but they're also being misused, actually. You heard Flock say, we're not doing anything wrong, but hey, we're going to fix this problem. Well, which is it? And I think it's, you've got a lot of greed involved in this. I think we ought to look at what they're doing in El Salvador. They put more cops on the street and they quit electing loser judges. I think that's what we need to start looking at. Also, I think it's a valuable tool for law enforcement, and I do not support any shape, form, or fashion of vandalism or destruction of any of this equipment. I think there's a proper way to take care of it. But I think we need guardrails. I met with our sheriffs and our DAs this week in Tennessee and our U.S. Marshal. And they agreed that they're going to work with me on getting some guardrails up. That's what we need to do. But again,
so guys, you don't want them all ripped out. You don't want them gone. Well, you just want guardrails put in?
It's the Constitution that needs to be followed. If they're not going to follow the Constitution, then heck yeah. I don't think that they should be able to follow their girlfriend 17,000 times, and where we've seen these cases and things like that. But you're going to see that abuse. And you're going to see flock. I don't think any shape, form, or fashion, some private entity should have access to this. I don't think they should be the gatekeeper. I think it should be your local government. I do not think it should be the federal government. My bill stops all federal funding, because what has the federal government done to make anything better? Absolutely nothing. And this will become some big, huge net that they'll use to cast over this country. Imagine if they'd had this during COVID. They were, going to your church service or something, and they send the police in there to arrest you. You saw people being arrested for surfing out on the dadgum beach. In the United States Congress, we had these bogus rules and regulations down in the gym. I remember they had the stalls in the showers. They had them taped off every other one. And I thought, if COVID could get through that marble wall, we're in a lot worse shape than we thought we were. So. Yeah, I just think just like everything else in this country, we go overboard.
It's the best
point.
We
overstep. Yes,
it could have good intentions, and the government always bends the arc in only one direction. And you're not speaking of a hypothetical. Governor Andy Beshear of Kentucky literally videoed and photographed license plates in church parking lots, and then tried to impose a 14-day quarantine on anyone who gathered at those spots. So you're not speaking theoretically. We lived through a lot of this. This debate is very interesting. I do think it has its pros and cons, and both arguments need to be heard. Congressman Burchett, we appreciate you hopping on with us, though, today and talking with us.
Thank you. Get a warrant. Thank you.
Yeah.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.